Hello, hello. Welcome everyone to Speedgaming 2. My name is Kupo. Can everyone hear me okay? Sounds like we're doing alright. We've got an exciting match today between OK Beamer and Eykir. Beamer is the higher seed in this, but Rando can be Rando, so anything could happen. Really looking forward to this one. I know Beamer is definitely a SM Rando main of his own definition, and Eykir has been playing pretty strong, had a pretty good turnout in the mystery tournament last year. Also plays a lot of SMC3. We're on a 5-minute delay, and Racer should be starting in about 15 seconds here. The mode for the tournament is major minor, area randomization, and then bosses shifted. And they should be getting underway any second here. Come on, delay. Okay, there we go. Finally off. So, for those who haven't seen this mode before, the beginning is always going to be the same. We always start at ship. Both runners are going to go down. Let's see if we got some moonwalks. Beamer is going ahead and showing off some of those strats. Is going to have a much faster time down this room than Eykir, who's going to... Oh, no, we've got a double moondrop, or moonfall. Here we go. So in major minor, we're always going to see either the morph ball at the pedestal or in the ceiling in the next room. Aside from what that initial item is going to be, it's going to be really important to see what sort of minors that we have available. In area randomization, what we call the meme route is available just to the left of pedestal, which would normally lead to green Brinstar. This is usually really important info you want to get as early as possible, and coming back here is never fun. So having power bombs to make that check, even if it's just for scouting the information, is incredibly useful. If not, you just hope to find it later and hope that that's not where actual progression is. And it looks like we do have power bombs, so both runners will be able to go ahead and scout that information. Some people tend to not go for that immediately, but I'm pretty confident both of these runners will go ahead and make that check. Let's go ahead and see. Beamer's going to show us what the ceiling item is here in a second. Screw attack. Okay, that's always a good item to have early. Definitely most useful for Lord Norfair, especially when you're on no E-tanks. That definitely makes everything a lot more safe, especially if you end up in areas where you're not expected to be so early in the vanilla game and everyone can hit like a truck. One thing to be mindful of, I believe these side hoppers do 80 damage. So at 84, they can take one hit and that's it, and we're cutting it pretty close there. A second power bomb pack is really nice. If this turns out to be a portal you don't want to get, you have to use 2 on the way back, which means that you have 1 left to go ahead and check for another minor. But using Screw also makes the side hoppers incredibly trivial. You don't need to go ahead and do the morph ball setup. And it's Croc. Yeah, we're not doing Croc on this ammo, and you're probably not coming back to Croc. Hopefully that doesn't lead to anything like intended progression there, as you do not want to be coming back to this portal. This is so isolated from the rest of the game. Eykir, what are you doing? Yeah. Okay, you want to go back up. Okay, so pretty good start so far. You want to be careful on these, for sure. One thing to note is that we don't have missiles yet, so having screw attack definitely makes checking things like Old Mother Brain right here pretty trivial. You'd want to go ahead and do that. I don't imagine we'll see... Okay, and there's missiles, good to know. I don't imagine we'll see a 230 check. I expect both runners to go to BT, and then from there we're going to go ahead and likely just go towards east or west criteria and see what we have available to us. You do have the option to go to west, go right of the ship, but you're missing out on one major item at Terminator that way. And aside from that, you have to do a CWJ in order to get to the other portal that's over there, which is definitely not the easiest trick in the book. Okay, so Beamer making his way up first. You can see a right side climb from Eykir with screw attack. Yeah, climb is definitely an interesting room with screw attack. It's not the usual loadout that you're expecting, so we can see it, yeah, just being just a little bit troublesome on the movement there. We've got a beautiful can of Steel Reserve right there. As a reward for BT, that's not... I mean, even a reserve is pretty good at this point. I mean, when you have no tanks, getting one extra is also beneficial. That said, you would really prefer for that to come pre-filled, instead of having to go fill it yourself, which it looks like Beamer's doing. I don't know if he's just refilling and he's gonna make a go at Gauntlet, or if he's gonna go to the right of the ship. But we don't really need to refill for the power bombs. Maybe this is just like a scouting mission. We'll see how Eykir decides to play this. Beamer slightly ahead positionally, just off of like movement, but Eykir looking, if he chooses an alternative route, would be able to potentially make some of that up. Obviously, it depends what's going to be in Gauntlet here. And Eykir's just decided he's not going to do Alcatraz, and I think that is completely fine. DJ Webb, my co-admin on this tournament in chat, I haven't actually finished watching your races, DJ Beamer, so please no spoilers. Let's get a little preview of what Gauntlet's going to be. An E-Tank. Okay, that's not any game-breaking item, but again, the first and second E-Tanks, or rather, in this case, the first reserve and the first E-Tank are both pretty nice to have. You definitely are not upset at seeing those there. It's not like when you're coming towards the end of the game and you're looking for Batoon access or some sort of suitless Meridia item that would be progression to get you through. That's it. On one E-Tank, this room can be extremely dangerous. We can see on Eykir's screen just how fast that acid really cuts into the energy, so you need to be as careful as possible. Looks like he'll get it, and we do have an E-Tank, so that will end up going okay for Eykir as well. Meanwhile, Beamer is hopefully going to remember to check the Terminator item, which almost everyone does, but it has happened in the past before that gets skipped. Alright, another E-Tank. And nothing too interesting so far. We'll have to see what these portals tell us, and that could give us a little bit more insight into where the seed might want us to go or what sort of decisions are available. Okay, Business Center. You definitely want to go ahead and do that as soon as possible. And Green Bryn, there we go. Wow, that is pretty primo optimal choices for what you would want to see at the bottom. Let's see if Eykir feels the same way. If he does subscribes to the C Business Center, Do Center, we could maybe get some more info or end up getting a really great item like Speed Booster here, which allows to check Green Bryn's item. Okay, we got a Wave Beam for Beamer. It's definitely nothing to turn away at. I actually really like this play from Eykir. You do have enough E-tanks to go ahead and make like the Ice Hell Run. You're definitely not, I mean, unless you pick up Varia instantly, you're definitely not incentivized to go through with like the rest of Lower Norfair. Or for Upper Norfair, apologies. Yeah, just more E so far. Some standard, making our way down to Edecoons. So I wonder if Eykir is going to take the safety save on this. Bombs for Beamer. Okay, that's definitely a great item to see at Edecoons. Provides a lot of utility, especially for movement at this stage, and you don't have to worry about your power bomb management nearly as much. Okay, Eykir looks like he did take that safety save, and we're going to go ahead and see what this is. I imagine, even if this isn't necessarily an item you want, although you'll take pretty much anything except for maybe X-Ray at this point, that we just see a reset as a way to get back some of the health that was used in the Hell Run. But let's find out. E-Tank. That's still worth holding on to. Early E is always good. Eykir doesn't seem to agree. And to be honest, I think that's completely defensible as well. It's not like you're... I mean, it's major minor. You're going to pick up a fair amount of E throughout the entire seed anyways. Especially if you've just seen Green Bryn as well, you probably want to get back to that stat. I haven't timed out if that's going to actually save any time or not, but... I think the most important thing is instead of overanalyzing, especially as you're running, that you just go. As Beamer correctly remembers the wave beam. And we'll see what we get up here. More E. Hopefully we're going to get some kind of clue as to what we should be doing soon. And there is the top of Red Bryn for Eykir. I get the play and going down for this. At the same time, I really think you want to be doing Green Bryn as early as you possibly can. Elevators do tend to be a little bit slow, and it's very likely you're going to end up in another Red Bryn portal. Red Bryn is one of the most connected areas of the game. You do see a Forgotten Highway entrance there, which is pretty good to know. That's definitely considered the worst end of Wreck Ship. You don't want to have to go through that if you can. I would have also maybe picked up what are called like the Kip Miners, the Alpha Power Bombs location. It's got 2 quick miner checks at 15.5. You're definitely looking for whatever you can get at that point. And Green Hill Zone leads to front of ship. Okay. Beamer decides he's going to pass on that for the moment, where Red Tower leads to Moat. No early X-ray check, it's looking like, from Eykir, and I don't blame him. That's a very difficult and annoying check. I think especially if you think that you don't have the movement advantage in this, it's easier to go ahead and try to make up time where you think you would be able to as well. Let's see what we have for Spazer, and while we're doing that, Beamer's going to show us the other end as well. Okay, Spazer, and then single chamber. Okay. Apologies for any delay in communication here. This is tracking and doing commentary, double duty, with area is not exactly the easiest thing in the world. Looks like Beamer's going to go for these hell runs. Let's see if we can go ahead and find anything. Hell runs can definitely tend to take a lot longer, but can pay out, and you don't have the worst equipment for it in the world. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead. That was... Sorry, can someone remind me what the Red Bryn portal we just saw from Eykir was? Well, we did find Kraid at the top, at the bottom top. Whatever, the one that normally leads to Meridia. I think he's gonna go for this. Well, and Beamer's going for speed. Pre-Aqueduct. Okay, great, thank you. So in terms of beatable bosses, we have Kraid and we have Phantoon at this stage. I think either of those you're pretty okay with. Having Screw definitely provides a pretty significant buffer in your comfortability with a low E-tank Phantoon fight. That said, on 3 plus at least 1 reserve, that's pretty comfy, and you have 20 missiles as well. Okay, and what do we have for the boss? It's Dragon. That's going to be a reset. That's very frustrating. Okay, Beamer looking like he's going to go check wave. This can get a little tight. Has definitely enough energy for this, but needs to be mindful to not be using any supers, especially at the moment, considering that he would need to Crystal Flash if he gets into some trouble, but having that extra pack is nice. Meanwhile, Eykir is reset back to his upper Norfair save, pre-Red Tower, and I imagine this is now going to be a Green Bryn play for him. So Eykir definitely has a little bit more information on a few pieces here, especially with portals being able to get spit out at that hub and having done Business Center. Beamer has definitely on what I would consider the intended path maybe for this, and has got quite a big positional lead so far. Okay, setting up for the D-boost. Not quite. It can be a tricky D-boost. Yeah, DJ Webb also pointing out in chat that because we've seen Dragon, there's a slimmer chance that we've seen one of the 2 unbeatable bosses, that out of the 3 options available in Wreck Ship, we are likely to get a beatable boss. So we'll have to see how that pans out. If that's Ridley, that is definitely not a fun, but again, I'm pretty sure that would be extremely troll if that were the case. Okay. Meanwhile, Eykir picks up his wave beam, and we're going to see an IBJ. I think that's a little bit too far left. I can't remember the exact IBJ movements to get up to this platform, though. And you have to watch out for these really annoying waivers as well. Although you can always set a power bomb to get them out of the way. Ooh, nicely done. All right. We have double jump. Definitely a interesting item for movement capabilities. For those who haven't seen double jump before, it's a dash item exclusive beamer. You want that super. What are you doing? Well, he's decided to skip it. I mean, to be fair, I guess it is an acid. So I guess if you did want it, there are some issues in picking that up. To go back, though, double jump is a single-use space jump item, hence it's a double jump. You can get around most of the map with double jump. There's a couple of interesting strats. It does have the same mechanics as space jump, which some people love. There's not many of them, but it definitely adds an interesting twist to the competitive nature of the game. So We're going to see Beamer. Is he not? Okay, yeah. Beamer is going ahead and taking the health refill. I think, especially given double jump, you have the possibility of very easily getting over to past Croc escape from this. Let's see what we have at Croc entrance door over here. Back of Lower Norfair. Great info to have. Definitely not what you're looking for. And it looks like Beamer's going to take the save over here. This can be risky. I totally get why you would do this. Eykir, meanwhile, is going ahead and checking the wave location and did remember to use his wave beam correctly after shooting the door. Is this a chronic boost play? Yeah, I think Beamer's going to check chronic boost door right now. Okay, that's Turian. That's gonna definitely get us to a reset. Well, this map is definitely pushing us towards wreck ship. I think the only criteria portal we haven't seen, yeah, is like the pre-moat room. And in Red Brinstar, I don't believe that we've seen tube either. Since I'm tracking and doing comms, I might have missed that one. I know Eykir was in Red Bryn earlier, but for some reason I thought he didn't elect to go ahead and check tube. Alright, this is wreck ship. Let's see what we go ahead and find here. I think Eykir is committing to do this. We do have the two beatable bosses. I think ammo doesn't matter for this one as much, but obviously one of the bigger mechanics of racing in Major Minor is if you're going to find charge or not, and whether you're going to commit to finding charge or you're going to work on getting that ammo. And I definitely think you want to go for ammo in this scenario. Okay, Eykir taking the save. Gonna go ahead and check this boss. Meanwhile, Beamer is getting ready for his ice hell run, and then after that, we'll likely clean up the rest of Criteria. And depending on what we find there in Criteria and that red Bryn tube, we might just end up beelining it back to Croc, especially depending on what wreck ship holds. Okay, that's a great super find for Eykir. They've definitely got enough E-tanks now, and Beamer definitely has enough E-tanks to where, you know, considering a varialist, Ridley is a real possibility. You want to make sure that you are stocked up on supers for that. Not just at max capacity, but that you're watching your super management pretty consistently. Alright, let's see what Eykir is going to find. It's Ridley. Awesome. That is super cool. Well, that means Varia cannot be in wreck ship. Fantastic. I'm so glad I just signed myself up for what's looking to be an extremely long and trollish seed. So yeah, we're running out of progression places. DJ Webb also pointing out in chat, it could be at X-Ray. I forget the exact logical requirements. We have enough E-tanks for it. What you'll see a lot of higher level players do is something called the X-Ray D-boost, which is your damage boost off of the waivers to go ahead and make your way across. Don't believe is in logic. Yeah, double jump could be the item that puts that into progression. We'll see. You do have bombs as a backup as well. If one of the main places that people get stuck in that early X-ray check, or rather a grapple space jumpless grapple check, is the final D-boost across. Okay, Beamer's going to go ahead and pick up these kit miners. Presented with a power bomb, which I don't think he'll pick up. Yeah, unless you're going for multiple crystal flashes, which, I mean, you could do. Although I don't think Beamer knows. Yeah, Beamer doesn't know that Ridley isn't at home in Lower Norfair, so doing a Variolus Lower Norfair is... it's definitely possible, but if Ridley's at home, it makes it exponentially trickier to go ahead and pull off. Just requires like a lot more planning and resources and farming and time. And when you're racing, you don't want to give up a lot of time. Okay, so I expect Beamer, especially with double jump, has a really easy way to clear this moat. So is likely going to go ahead and check what this other portal is while Eykir is in the middle of doing the hell runs. This is probably going to be like back of East Meridia or something equally trolly. Oh, great, Crapple. That is superb. All right. Is Beamer going to go for Croc, or are we going to go ahead and... I think he's actually probably going to explore the rest of the Red Brinstar portals that he hasn't seen, but Eykir showed us that a few minutes ago. Beamer is probably, let's see, save. Okay, we're going to see this X-ray check. Yeah, we don't even have high jump boots, or we really do not have a lot of movement progression at this point. Double jump, definitely nice, but again, if you're thinking about some of the other advanced skips and things like that, you would really want a little bit more. Ooh, nice double jump utility there. Damaging off the spikes takes about 60. Definitely not fun. And let's see. Alright, nicely done, Beamer. And the reward? Yeah. Oh. Pretty good. Definitely great to see Varia over there. And does have the bombs to get out. So yeah, this is definitely a big advantage. Okay, so we still don't know what the bottom, or what the Meridia tube is. If this is Lower Norfair, I imagine the Beamer goes straight for it. If it's anything else, I imagine he turns back, and I believe he does know the back of Lower Norfair. He'll also be able to go ahead and do... Oh no, Kraid boss was Dragon, so he won't be able to do that. Yeah, the way this map is laid out is just not great for... Yeah, not great for pathing. Alright, I imagine, yeah, we're going to go ahead and see this tube here. So this tube is out of logic without high jump boots or gravity. But at this stage, logic is a suggestion. It is Lower Norfair entrance. So it is going to be a little difficult to get back in there if that's what Beamer chooses to do. There is a gravity jump from this room to go ahead and do it. I don't know exactly how precise it is, other than kind of precise. But it is definitely possible. The other thing I believe since Beamer has done all of Upper Norfair and knows all the portals, he could very well go in and grab that. And go there instead of trying to do the gravity jump back up through. It's definitely a bit slower, even though the front of Lower Norfair is slow. And the boss at Kraid is Dragon. Eykir showed us that on his trip through Red Brinstar a little bit ago. So Beamer will not be able to defeat this boss. I actually think maybe there is a way to do a CF interrupt. I don't know, that stuff's beyond my pay grade. But I think that is one way to do it. Other than that, the other gravityless ways to get out of Dragon aren't available to us. We don't have grapple, and we don't have high jump, we don't have spring ball. But Beamer's about to find out the fun way, what this seed has in store for us. Nice movement D-boost across that hallway, by the way. He's going for it. It looks like we are going to see a CF interrupt. Okay, I have never seen Beamer do this, but it's a thing that's available. I think this is an RBO strat, I'm not sure. Someone more versed in the vanilla categories can give us some more info on that. Meanwhile, Eykir is going through and doing the reverse Cathedral Hell Run. Has plenty of ammo for a CF clip and health. In terms of positions, I really hope Eykir is able to know that at this point, progression is pretty likely to be through X-Ray and then go ahead and make a move through that. If not, it's going to be, probably back to Croc. The two portals that he hasn't checked are the Red Bryn portal, which... nice CF'd interrupt there. Yeah, but Eykir hasn't seen this pre-moat portal, and he also hasn't seen the tube, which Beamer showed us just a little bit ago. Beamer showing us the importance of miners here. Good job, Beamer. So that on the tracker should show the Kraid boss down, because this is at the Kraid location. His reward will be Spring Ball. And then we're going to see a CF out. Yeah, this is quite interesting. I think at this point, I would have nicely done. I imagine Gravity is gonna, because this Kraid's Janitor Closet can't be Gravity at this point. Gravity can't be behind Dragon in a meaningful way. So if this is something like High Jump or Grapple that would help enable Suitless Meridia, I think the Seeds logically wants us to go to Wreck Ship, defeat Ridley, which we can do with ammo and with Varia, and then from there, maybe get the Gravity suit. Yeah, you don't need that, Beamer. Yeah, at 30, almost 33 minutes in, Beamer definitely looking pretty healthy on miners here. I think he's been a little bit more thorough about that. Just sort of looking for Again, knowing that he might not run into charge, and anything you can pick up along the way that does help for Mother Brain, that can help damage Mother Brain, definitely gives you an advantage. Rather than trying to pick up whatever scraps you can at the end to manage it if it happens to be at Shack Tool or somewhere like extremely inconvenient. Speaking of inconvenient, we've got Croc over here on Eykir's screen. Let's see what we have here. If this is gravity, this is going to be pretty major. High jump boots is also an extremely great item. It's going to help with the movement a little bit. So I wonder if Beamer makes... His options are pretty open. He's seen where Wreck Ship is, although it is not necessarily in the most fun locations to be getting to. It's either Green Hill Zone or Red Meridia Escape. Or he could go back through Upper Norfair and then make his way through the back of LN. He knows at this point that since he's already killed Dragon, each boss isn't going to be much of an issue as long as he keeps his ammo in check. More supers for Eykir. I have a feeling Eykir doesn't know about potentially the X-ray requirements for that to be a trick, which is really unfortunate, since that is where it is, but hopefully he ends up getting back there and we can see something potentially to equalize the race just a little bit. This is looking pretty heavily in favor of Beamer at the moment. Not quite sure what happened with Beamer there, going up and down, just maybe having a change of heart there. Yeah, I think Beamer's decided he's going to go to Lower Norfair. He already knows where both entrances are, and you know you can take out this boss, and you'll likely get 2 along the way. We do find a Plasma Beam for Eykir. That is a great item to get. That said, without charge, it doesn't provide nearly as much utility. And considering that the seed hasn't been too trollish with ammo, you're like, unless charge just happens to be on the way somewhere, like ammo's going to be completely fine, and just as fast, provided that the we're not only going to grab power bombs from this point and the supers don't completely dry up. Okay, and we do see Beamer beelining straight for Lower Norfair at this stage. So this is potentially 2 majors, assuming that it's not Fantoon. Fantoon is the only boss that doesn't have a boss reward directly connected to the boss room. But something like Gravity down here would be, I mean, that would pretty much be game over at this point. There's not a lot of decision points or inflection points to go from where, you know, you could introduce Varia to make up the positional lead that Beamer has. Okay, so 1 more super for Beamer, and looks like he's laid the power bomb, and we're gonna do jail as well. Yeah, and this is fairly trivial with Spring Ball for this extra miner. It takes a little bit of time, but always better to be ready and prepared, even if it's a missile. It's still damage for Mother Brain. I think this would be a great time to find Charge Beam after you're at 70-35. Or maybe we'll just get like a tiny bit closer. Reserve tank is also super useful after finding Varia and hoarding a bunch of E-tanks. Beamer making his way through the Key Hunter room with Screw Attack. This is no problem. And yeah, given the item set and loadout, this is going to be an extremely trivial Lore Norfair. It just should be interesting to see who the boss is. It's either going to be Phantoon or Kraid. Eykir has finished with Croc, made his way back up, and is going ahead and checking this pre-moat portal, which Beamer showed us like a fair amount of time ago. Or is going to go back to Red Bryn. Yeah, DJ making a really good point that since high jump was at Croc, and that is, in rando terms, basically buried, it's super out of the way, and that's a skip you would normally feel comfortable doing. This could get interesting if that does turn out to be something that is required. Alright, Beamer with 30 supers entering, but it's not going to be Ridley, it's Phantoon. Alright, Eykir is making his way down. I imagine Eykir is not feeling great at this point. Just knowing how late in the seed it is to be picking this up. Beamer did pick this up like a lot sooner. That said, he will be right by the Lower Norfair entrance should he choose to do that, and he will have high jump boots to put that in logic. Beamer making the out of logic play though for being able to do that Dragon kill is really a big time save, even if the fight itself was quite slow, because unless what's behind, well yeah, there is no item behind Phantoon here. So unless, you know, Golden Torizo holds something that allows you to kill Dragon, which I think logically would have to just be gravity, then yeah, that's a big time save. Alright, and then that is Phantoon down for Beamer. We're going to mark that again as the Ridley boss, since that was the boss killed in Lower Norfair. Okay, Eykir looks like he's going up to the top of Red Bryn, which does have Wreck Ship, the back of Wreck Ship. Again, not the fastest entrance, but definitely probably one of the closer ones for him to get to. And then maybe he does know it's Ridley, so if he does that and then ends up getting Varia, that could definitely help along with something like speed. We don't have a Batoon access item yet, although both players, if they do end up getting gravity, I'm pretty sure Beamer's comfortable with the CF clip up. I'm not too sure if Eykir is familiar with that trick as well. Beamer does have a pretty significant amount of health. I wonder if we do see him go for that reverse acid dive. That said, it is for one item, and if you end up doing back-to-back, you do become a lot closer to the front of Wreck Ship, which I imagine, since that has way more options and a boss on the way, that's the play that you make. Eykir making his way through the back of wrecked ship. Nicely done. Okay, and I do believe this miner at Spooky Muscles is a super, which will put Eykir in a pretty good threshold for this as well. Meanwhile, Beamer is going through the back way to go ahead and get to single chamber, which will take him to the back of Green Bryn and then from there to the front of Rex Ship at Green Hill Zone. Really nice fight so far on Ridley from Eykir. Got all the pogo manips in. Just gonna, yeah, he is down. Gonna get into that ball, picked up, and goodbye Ridley. That is Eykir's first boss down, and let's see what the reward is. Speed. Okay, that is... Since Beamer is on his way there, that is better for Beamer than it is for Eykir, but it is still generally... Yeah, I mean, it's just neutral. That's not really what Eykir needs to make a comeback into this. And given the item loadout and how we really don't have a lot to do anything suitless at this point, or much of the preferred suitless items, I imagine Beamer is going to be checking all of these as well. So the one thing we also haven't seen is we haven't seen any of the East Meridia portals. It looks like those all branch off of West Meridia. Which, yeah, definitely makes for quite a trolley seed. We do have access with high jump boots to get to a few of the portals there. Okay, Eykir's taking the save in case of Spiky Room of Death. Honestly, with this much E-Tanks, I think it's much more about a time save than it is about a safety measure. Meanwhile, Beamer is starting his Ridley fight. That is a pretty dead Space Pelican. Right, Ridley down for Beamer as well. A space jump over at Wreck Ship Reserve. That is, again, definitely... It's not a bad find, but with double jump, you have what does most of that utility to begin with, especially once you have high jump boots. You can get to most... places outside of a few, like, esoteric things. Or not even esoteric, just there's other optimal ways to get to them. So Space Jump at this stage really isn't providing, like, nearly as much value as something else. Nice wall jump out of Spiky Room of Death, though, from Eykir. And I imagine from here we're going to go ahead and see what the top of ship holds. Given space, screw, speed, high jump, yeah, we're pretty cooking on movement now. We're really just looking for that gravity suit. And some minor ammo here just to give us a little bit more comfort. Alright, we're gonna see if the wreck ship is. Is this gravity? It is. Oh, that's super trolly. So yeah, typically wreck ship, because one item is speed locked and it's pretty far away. A lot of players have definitely considered skipping attic, especially if you don't have speed. But that said, in order to get speed, you have to, in this seed at least, beat the boss at wreck ship. So we'll go ahead and grab that. And we don't have too many other items outstanding. Could find a charge beam or something else. That said, unless Beamer somehow decides to skip the top of ship, which I don't really see happening, this is a pretty commanding lead. This is Beamer's race to lose for sure. And there we go. There is the gravity suit. We're also gonna... Oh, that's so frustrating finding that item there. And the missile dodge as well. See what this final item is. Beamer's going for Sky. Okay. Another E-tank. And a missile. So at this point, wreck ship gave us gravity and it gave us speed. So now we have the Batoon access as well. Zeb skip, I mean, you can Zeb skip with the speed booster. It's definitely significantly harder than the classic Ice Beam strat, but I think at this point, at 51 minutes, into the seed, you are just looking to go and get this done. That said, Beamer, as one more boss, needs to make his way to East Meridia from here via West Meridia, and we are gonna finish this one out. Looks like Eykir is gonna make a play for like Lower Norfair here. Yeah, DJ Webb also pointing out that I don't think Eykir has seen this portal. That, yeah, if you see that this is Turian instead of something like Aqueduct, this is not a feels good moment. Yeah, that's not great. And there is Beamer's gravity suit, 52.5 minutes into the game. Good dodge from Beamer over the final, or maybe not the final, but it certainly non-necessary E-tank at this stage, given the full loadout. Beamer's definitely probably looking at the map for a moment to just determine which route he needs to get to at this stage. Yeah, this is a pretty interesting map. East Meridia is just so bisected there, but at least those portals are showing up significantly later once gravity's found, as opposed to going ahead and trying to find them finding them super early on and then just not having access and being forced to go a certain way. I think the big difference in this seed ultimately, though, was Beamer getting to gravity a lot earlier and then being able to traverse the map more or less one time. Eykir ended up doing Red Bryn, I think, twice around, and then on the second trip is where he ended up finding Varia, which then allowed for going through the rest. Eykir also checked some of the other... He did check the wreck ship boss much earlier than Beamer did as well, which resulted in a fairly significant time loss, but good information to have. Okay, looks like Beamer is going to take this not to Red Tower. That's where I was expecting to hit West Meridia. But looks like he's going to take this all the way down to the bottom. Oh yeah, Crab Shaft is here at that Norfair entrance door. So yeah, it's either going to be Redfish or Main Street, which is going to... Actually, I think those both have to be East Meridia doors, so it'll just depend on whether it's the good one or the bad one. Meanwhile, Eykir is fighting Phantoon and Lower Norfair. Oh, unfortunately hitting a super straightaway and enraging Phantoon. Not really in any danger because of all the health, screw attack, but definitely not a time-saving maneuver. Meanwhile, Beamer finds Aqueduct, which is definitely the best entrance for East Meridia. With Speed is able to go ahead and grab these 2 extra miner checks in the Aqueduct miners. Getting a missile first, not ideal, and a second missile. Now setting him at 105 missiles total. Definitely not ideal, but I mean, it's better than finding power bombs at this stage. It looks like Beamer's going for left sandpit as well. I don't know if I would do this. You're already so close to ammo, and you have everything you need. Just a little low on ammo, I guess, but you can go into the other room and farm. Let's see. It's finding a super up there, so it's not worth it. And finds X-ray. Okay. Meanwhile, Eykir has finished up Phantoon in Lower Norfair. I didn't quite see how many rounds it was. Looked like there's a few missed Dopplers there, but then ended up landing, I think, the majority of them on a pretty decent Doppler at the end there. It's definitely one of the trickier bosses to get down completely. I don't think that ended up taking too long and comes out on like pretty decent resources. Obviously would like to have a few more supers, but nothing too crazy, especially since you know you're going to go to Dragon right away, and that's got the quickest amount of the quickest super refill from mini crate possible. So we got 70-10 up here for Botwoon. Let's see if we get the good pattern and can one round that. Yeah, no, that is not the good pattern. That's not the fun one. Man, Botwoon is such a jerk sometimes. Beamer needs to land just a couple more hits here. There we go. And that is Botwoon down. Maybe this will be Ice Beam for Beamer. That would be pretty good. Oh, Eykir falls on the reverse acid dive, but then makes it go through. Eykir's totally safe now, and has so many E-tanks that even falling down there isn't really anything of real concern. So Eykir's going to get split out at Red Bryn Tube. If this is, I mean, yeah, he's going to go ahead and do Dragon like right away. Yeah, for Beamer, the path back isn't super great, but it's also not terrible either. I imagine we'll be wrapping this up as this is Beamer's final boss here for Kraid in the next like 10 minutes. I'm not very good at estimating time with these things, so we'll see. Samus standing so confident there for Kraid to come out, not even looking in Kraid's direction. I don't think I've ever seen that setup before. But it's an interesting one. Oh, that claw just getting right in the way. That is pretty trollish. I know we were talking about Phantoon being an annoying boss, but Kraid, especially if you miss that quick kill, you're already feeling flustered, can also provide a little bit of annoyance. More E behind Kraid. Well, that is all 4 bosses down for Beamer. And he's going to make his way out through East Meridia. I don't imagine he's checking anything else except a couple of miners just to get some assurances for if he doesn't know how to do speed zep skip. Or we'll have to just go ahead and end up refilling. Since we don't have ice, he does have enough power bombs to go ahead and handle the Metroids without having to refill on that side, so at least that part won't be as slow as it could be. Meanwhile, Eykir is preparing for his Dragon fight. We'll swap back to boss audio, just going ahead and farming up a couple more supers here for that. Beamer's going to go to the other sand pit. This is usually the other good source for miners, for 2 quick miners, and especially considering the movement items you have, it's not going to take you that much longer to get back. Although a power bomb is not what you want to find, and a missile adds, but yeah, we're really looking for supers at this point. You would love more than 45. Eykir's just gonna finish. Oh no, like one more round. Got a fair amount of damage on Dragon there, and she is pretty red. Just want to avoid this off-screen kill. If you kill Dragon off-screen, that's a pretty significant time loss. It'll end up scrolling the screen. I forget exactly how long it takes, but usually I would say that's a pretty major detriment. And is going to pick up the spring ball. Yeah, it's an 18-minute time loss. Thanks, DJ. Meanwhile, Beamer is on minor hunt throughout. I wonder if we're going to see a Mama Turtle check at this point. I mean, Charge would also help, Ice would help, but we're really just looking for as much leeway, I think, as possible. Okay, and Beamer looks like he's going to go over to the left. I don't anticipate him taking the ship refill. As this is area randomization, you do get a full health and ammo refill once you go down the G4 elevator in Turian. But looks like this is going to go ahead and be a business center play over to where Turian is at the Chronic Boost entrance. Eykir saving, and that crab definitely had an opinion about that. Is Beamer going for this miner as well? The crumble shaft? Wow. I mean, I don't have my math sheet out to determine exactly what his exact ammo requirements are, but this is definitely a little out of the way, and that is also... He has been so unlucky in just pulling up non-stop power bombs. In fact, I am going to pull out the sheet to determine what sort of math we got to do. So at 1:15:45, we definitely have a pretty significant amount of leeway. Yeah, I mean, this should be fine anyways. The racers obviously don't know where they are in the seed, but I would imagine Beamer has to feel like he's pretty confident, has a fairly significant lead at this point. You needed to go find Varia early, then after Varia, you need to go and kill Ridley, which goes ahead and gets you the suit. And it's not like there was a very easy, clear way to go ahead and do those strats. So... you can go ahead and be power bombing some Metroids here. Meanwhile, Eykir is off. Looks like Beamer is also taking just a little dip in that acid there, taking down some of his energy as quickly as possible. This is usually a strategy for baby skip. If you know you're not going to be doing the baby skip, and without high jump, I can see that, then just going ahead and taking as much health down as early as possible to save a little bit of time there at the end. And yeah, did a pretty good job at decrementing quite a tremendous amount of health there. Oh, two stand-ups and one seed. Let's see the cleanup. Oh, one more super will take care of Kraid there. And yeah, as expected, Beamer's just going straight for the skip. And that is the final boss down for Eykir as well. I think also the last energy tank. Yeah, pretty interesting seed. I'd be curious to see where Grapple is. It looks like Beamer is going through and he's going to start missiling a few of these doors early just to go ahead and be able, once he does that health refill, he's also going to go for the missile refill as well. So trying to get as many of those out of the way. He's totally fine health-wise on this, even with one energy. He has the reserve, which he's triggering there. This is good, Beamer. You're totally fine. Go refill your health. Oh, he is going for it. I gotta admit, I am not super familiar with these strats. I'm familiar with falling into the acid, though, and I'm not a huge fan of that. But has enough to make it out. Alright, and then yeah, at this stage, it's totally fine. Well, I could have changed things pretty radically. I don't know when Beamer's last save was. But, yeah, this is fine. Totally knew what he was doing. So, all good. For some reason, I thought Beamer had picked up more than one reserve tank, but just a single one there sitting in acid is... Yeah, I mean, just top tip for Super Metroid is don't sit in acid. It never results in a great time unless you're trying to do something than hitting the reset button faster. Okay, well, with those Zebs all cleared away, it's just about breaking the glass and getting to Mother Brain 1. Which it looks like Beamer is onto, and I'm gonna just deal with these really annoying Rinkas over here. Hop right in there and get super cozy, start firing it off. Alright, so we have 102.36 for Mother Brain. Okay, so Beamer looks to be in the correct position for this. I'm sure very, very well versed at the ammo kill. I will say, if you miss the ammo and you don't get there, that is a soft walk. But Beamer, yeah, you want to be crouched down just a little tiny bit ahead of this. Okay, and we've hit the catch-up phase. Once you hit the catch-up phase of Mother Brain 2, you need 15 supers worth of damage for that to be done. Looks like Beamer hit all of those. Just gonna give a nice little aperitif, just a nice thing to finish it off. And there we go. Mother Brain is now dealing her 3 E-tanks worth of damage to Beamer. And it looks like he is gonna close this out. Nicely done. With 20-something supers to spare at the end. Meanwhile, Eykir going ahead and checking Plasma, definitely not in the same sort of ammo position that Beamer is in, and pretty much committing the charge at this point. Went ahead and checked. Finding a reserve there is just, that's punishing. I wonder if we'll see a Shack Tool check, although we don't have Ice or Grapple, so charge could have been at Golden Chorizo. Or at the Screw Tap location. So even though, I mean, barring any extremely unforeseen circumstances, Beamer is going to take this one. We've got another game coming up and a pretty interesting set. So in this group phase of the tournament, this is Group G with DJ Webb as the top seed, OK Beamer in second, Anfunny and Eykir. So Beamer and DJ Webb played yesterday, and I think there's just a few more matches to schedule. For Beamer, this is his last of the series. He's put on a pretty good performance so far. Oh, we haven't seen... No, I thought Moment Turtle was an E-Tank. No, there it was. It was Charge. That is pretty trollless, especially considering the location of gravity and how much ammo you already have at the time. So, definitely a great item to find. Not a great item to find at this stage of the game, but Eykir looking like they're going to make their way to Turian now. Beamer through the making their way through the escape, almost out of this. Let's see if we can hit this final moonfall. Nice. That moonfall eludes me so many times. I have no idea why. And we're going to get one final spark. Up climb. I'm just going to take a little traditional one. Nothing fancy. Just get through. Going to see, coincidentally, a high five here. Maybe not quite. Oh, no, they're in other rooms. Sorry. I thought they were both in parlor for some reason. Nice little steam bumps over there. And the first game is going to go to Beamer with a race time result of 1:15.42. GG's. Eykir has gone ahead and forfeited as well. Okay, we are going to kick off the next race here in a little bit. We're going to go ahead and take a small break, and then we will be back very shortly for the second race. GG's again to both runners, and we'll be back momentarily.